gave me clarity to then move into my next work, which was when I started doing Thai yoga massage. There was space created after our work was done together, where I was then asking, what next? And I gave myself space. I went to California. I spent time with a friend. And she said to me, she's like, you know what, I think you'd be really great at massage. And I had thought about that many times. And there were other signs too that kind of sparked. And it's like, oh, okay. When she said that, it was like, ooh, now's the time. I want to get in contact. And things just lined up. And that's, I feel like, a way we know we're on the path, in alignment. I'd say in alignment with when things start to line up. And so the teaching for me was, yes, there's times when we want to listen to the self. The mind has a lot of stories to say, lots of reasons why we should be doing things, a lot of beliefs that we should have, a lot of shoulds. But when we can go a little bit deeper, we can trust that things have an expiry date, things end, new things start, and we just move with the flow of life. And to be comfortable with that, I think that was a hard one. It's like, I got to be comfortable with this, letting go, comfortable with the letting go.
It's not easy letting things go. I tell a story when I do my talks, or I was talking to a friend a few weeks ago, and we enjoy telling the same stories because we get something out of it. And one of the stories which we get to talk about the same stories over and over again because we get the attention from them, and they could end up being really shitty stories, and they change the vibration inside of us. And I was going to keep this for another podcast one day, and it's supposed to be about you, but I'll just share the story. And there are two types of people. I think I brought this up to you. Many years ago, my car got broken into, the window was smashed, and I walked up to the window, and my briefcase was gone. So there's a moment of, took a deep breath, and I knew enough that I'm responsible because I left it in there. Fair enough. Briefcase is gone. I know I had a presentation on Monday, so I quickly drove to the local Staples there. I was downtown, kind of printed off my thing, so I know I have it ready to go for Monday. I know I sent a message to a friend, can I use your computer on Monday? He asked why. I said, mine has too much stuff on it. I need to use yours. He was cool. So Monday was set. I was going to a party later on that evening, and I went to the party, and I parked a block over because my window was smashed. And I went in, and when I was going in, my friend's like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, how's it going? He's just like, hey, how's your social media stuff going? Because I was just starting at the time. I was like, oh, it's going great. How are you doing? Talked about stuff. And that was around 4 or 5 o'clock, and that went in until midnight. And then it started to rain out. So I grabbed a garbage bag, and on my way out, someone said, oh, where are you taking that? I'm like, I'm just going to put it downstairs for the bottles or whatever. But I was taking it outside to my window. Taped my window up. Next day, sister calls, hey, you want to take out the kids? My niece is out for breakfast. I'm like, yeah, well, we'll take your car. She's like, well, what's wrong with yours? I'm like, oh, my snow tires are in the back, whatever. Later on that day, I called the insurance place. They said, go to the Speedy Auto Glass place. Got my window fixed. So my window was broken at about 3 p.m. on a Saturday. Sunday, by about 2 p.m., it was fixed, and it's done. But there's another scenario that could have taken place, and someone might relate to this. I go up to the car, window is smashed. Oh, I'm so upset. So my first initial reaction would be take a picture of it, post it on Facebook, and a big thing written on there, look what happened to me. Assuming that someone on Facebook is the person who broke into my car and they're going to see that. So I've let everybody know. And now I call the party and I say, hey, I'm going to be late. My window's been smashed. So I'm letting people know ahead of time, I'm going to be there. Even though they haven't asked me, I want to let them know I'm going to be there. My window is smashed. So if anything, that's what you should be thinking about. When I get to the party, I'm trying to park in front so that everyone can see my broken window. Unfortunately, I can't find parking. I'm actually upset that I can't show them my window smashed. Then when I get to the party, I see people and I say, how's it going? I really want them to ask me how I am because I really want to tell them about my broken window. But deeper than telling about the broken window, I go back into the same feelings. And I'm like, my broken window, and I'm angry. I'm telling the story. And after I've let it all out, I really have no interest in how your day is. I'm just looking for the next person to tell that same story again. And I spend the entire evening telling that story 22, 23 times over and over again. Am I hoping someone brought a window to the party? That someone, oh, by the way, I brought a window. And then about maybe 11:30, 12 o'clock hits, and I realize, oh, I totally forgot I had posted on Facebook. So I get to look at all the comments about my window, and I've created this energy around me, which I didn't have to. And I know there's an addiction to that. It feels, although it's really bad for our vibration, we love telling that story. And that's one story from one day. And going back to what you were talking about is we have these stories from our past that we just keep going back to. And you were just saying something, and I was thinking in my head, like, we can let those stories go, but we think they benefit us some way. I don't know what that benefit is. And for the truth of that story is, my window was smashed, and no, I didn't talk about it the entire time, but I know some people would. And if I was, and at that time it was kind of breathing, but you've kind of taught me more about the whole breathing and being present, is I really understood at that moment that of all the things in my life, this is so not important. There's other things I really want to talk about because I only have this much time. And so in that moment, maybe I knew, or I don't think I knew what I was doing, but what I was doing was I was breathing in the moment, understanding that this is all it is. It's a broken window. And it will be fixed later. And I have a choice over the next 8 hours to talk about anything that I want. I'm going to talk about the business that I'm growing and talk to my friends and so on. And maybe I'll talk about my business 8-9 times all night. I'm starting something. And I don't know where I was going with this, but the idea of story.
Well, I can really connect to what you're saying because in my meditation this morning, which I'm doing, a meditation course right now. It's I don't know if I would call it a course, but somebody I'm working with is started a meditation business. So his whole focus is teaching meditation, which I think is really neat. And in the meditation this morning, we were looking at, it was an open eye meditation, and we were seeing the material around us, and we were feeling into our body, and we were witnessing our thoughts. And there's one belief that the thoughts are as real as the material, as real as everything. Everything's part of the conscious experience, okay? But what came to me in this meditation is, if that's true, if everything that we're perceiving is part of the conscious experience, then the thoughts are no different than the material objects. So if say there's a thought that's coming through all the time, same thought, why is it any more important than the wall that I'm seeing? How does it hold significance? Because the ego is placing significance there. Where we can look is beyond the thought, which is the feeling, which then goes back to that maybe inner child work of, what does that child want? How is that child feeling? What's been pushed down that wants to come up? And in yoga and meditation and different energy work, we're working with that field, with that subtle body field of energy. You said vibration. People wonder, well, what is energy? And energy is just like happiness is an energy, anger is an energy. It's the same. It's a subtle energy. Love is an energy. So we're purifying this energy field within us, which help relieve because we allow these emotions to surface without the story, I mean, we can see, oh, there's a story there, but we can let those feelings surface, bring awareness to them, and then maybe the thoughts, those specific thoughts, stop coming, or maybe there's less, like for your story around the broken window of like needing to be the victim or needing to be the, like, see me, because then you've seen yourself, you've actually taken time. And this is the part of the work is recognizing that, we're taking our power back. We're working on ourselves, on allowing ourselves to be the captain of our own ship.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah. So to wrap this up, there's so much more. And I knew bringing you on, there was going to be part 2, part 3, part 4. So purposely, I'm going to cut this off because there's the whole beliefs things and so on. And I think we only covered the areas that you're teaching, but we can get into individually all those things.
Something more specific. Yeah, sure.
Your method and the theme of this was leaning in.
Leaning in. Absolutely. So, my practice is finding clarity by sitting with oneself, sitting in silence, sitting in, people would call it meditation. And then when you are in that place where you feel spaciousness, the breath is open, and then things land, things come to you, you can lean into them. And maybe something might seem scary. I mean, there's a part of me that was like, oh, I'm going to be on Rick's podcast. Kind of nervous.
Shouldn't be.
But then, and then there was the thoughts. Well, maybe I should cancel. Maybe I should postpone. I mean, this is a part, and I can recognize it because it's there, and it's okay. But I still showed up.
Well, I was gonna laugh is that what happens with our energy is that would happen, and if you didn't show up, we would keep meeting each other in the corner like we did like last year. Like just energy just kind of keep showing up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Candice, thank you so much for coming on. And I'll look forward to doing a part 2 with you.
Okay, looking forward to it. Thanks so much, Rick.